He kept glancing toward the door. They went to grab some snacks, right? My grandfather asked, his frail hands trembling as they rested on his cane. No, Grandpa, I whispered, voice cracking. They lied. They're not coming back. We were sitting at Gate 17C of the International Terminal, a place that reeked of metal and recycled air. Around us, people rushed past with purpose, but no one noticed the elderly man quietly crumbling. He had Alzheimer's. And my parents had just abandoned him. It started earlier, in the waiting area, when Dad leaned down and said, "Sit here, okay? Your daughter-in-law and I will go check in. We'll be right back." Grandpa nodded innocently, clutching his boarding pass like it meant something. They walked away. I followed, dragging my half-asleep suitcase, but something didn't feel right. They didn't head toward the check-in counter. They took the escalator up. "Where are we going?" I asked. "We'll meet you at security," Mom mumbled. But I saw the truth in their eyes, relief, emptiness, like they had finally set down a heavy burden. My chest tightened. They had no intention of coming back. I sprinted back through the terminal, past security, ignoring guards yelling after me. And there he was, still sitting, still waiting, but now quietly crying, whispering names of people long gone. I dropped to my knees. "Grandpa, I'm here," I said, grabbing his hand. He blinked slowly, trying to hold on. "Son, where did they go?" I couldn't answer. I just held his hand tighter. In that moment, something inside me broke, and rebuilt itself. I used to believe my parents loved him. I remembered the times he carried me on his shoulders, while Dad laughed beside us. I remembered his deep, passionate voice reciting poetry, filled with pride and stories. He always said that growing old wasn't a defeat, it was a triumph of having lived. He built our home, the business, our family's name. And they discarded him like forgotten luggage. Later, they tried to explain. "You don't know how hard it was. He doesn't even know who he is anymore. We didn't have a choice." But I knew they did. They were tired of changing diapers, tired of the silence, tired of watching the light slowly leave his eyes. They wanted to be free. So they chose to forget him quietly, hoping the guilt would fade. That's when I made my choice. If they were going to erase him, I was going to erase them. I brought Grandpa to live with me. Not in their house, but in mine, a small, humble one-bedroom apartment. Not perfect, but it was real. He didn't always recognize me, but every time I entered the room, he smiled. Every day, I gave him back his dignity. And every night, I worked on my plan. I started with the documents. I found old property deeds still in his name, business shares never formally signed over, medical records, and audio clips of my parents laughing about how easy it was to leave him behind. Then I got help from a friend of mine, a tough, sharp lawyer from university. Together, we filed petitions, froze their accounts, reported the illegal transfers, and quietly built a case. While they went out to dinner and posted happy photos on vacation, I was weaving a net they never saw coming. 6 months later, they were served. Dad called, fuming. "What the hell do you think you're doing? You're suing your own family." "You abandoned him," I replied, my voice cold. "He's asking for justice. I'm just the one making sure he gets it." "You think some senile old man's going to win a lawsuit?" he snapped. I smiled. "He's not the one forgetting things. You are." The court battle wasn't easy, but truth stands tall when it's held up by love. They lied. We had proof. They twisted facts. We had recordings. The judge barely needed time. Every share of the business was returned. Half the family home was given back. Their bank accounts were frozen pending a financial audit. A restraining order was issued. They lost everything they tried to keep, and everything they thought they buried. I saw them one last time outside the courtroom. Dad looked smaller than I remembered. Mom looked drained. You ruined us, they said. I looked them in the eye and quietly replied, you did that the day you left him sitting in that chair. They didn't respond. They turned and walked away. And this time, I didn't follow. Grandpa passed away peacefully 2 months later, in his own bed, my hand in his. Just before he took his last breath, he looked at me, and for a brief, beautiful moment, his mind cleared. You stayed, he whispered. Always, I said. He smiled, and let go. Sometimes I go back to that same airport gate, 17C, and just sit. I watch people come and go. Not out of sadness, but with a sense of purpose. Because that day changed me forever. It taught me something that words alone can't express. Love isn't shown in promises or fancy words. It's shown in the quiet aftermath of betrayal, and in the choice you make when the world is watching what you do next. If this story touched your heart, share it. Let it remind others that love isn't proven through talk but through action, especially when no one's watching. Subscribe for more stories that speak the truth, and leave a comment if you believe our elders deserve more than silence.